One, two, one, two, one, two. And we're live, I think. Let's see. Make sure that it is sure. Test audio. No problem. Webcam. Mic. Okay, cool. Hello. How are you? How's everybody doing? So today we have a live stream. About maybe an hour and a half too. I do have some time today. My next commitment is until 10 p.m. Which is going to pick up somebody at the airport. So yeah. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the thing below in the comments. We'll be going over that. If you have any specifics or you want to see a specific device, let me know as well. And we'll kind of work on that. Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee this morning or mid-morning at this point. So I'm sorry about that. Excuse me for the last few little bit. We'll go over that. I do have some bread as well. So again, apologies. I'm gonna be munching in a little bit. But today we have the Nokia. This is flipped. I'm working with a little bit of a different system today, and I did not get to know how to flip it. So I may be testing a few things here because I still don't know how to do it on this camera. Let's see if I can figure it out right now. I was playing around with it, but I was just like, okay, whatever, we're just gonna, but I think it's a little distracting, so I don't know how to flip it though. Okay. Mike. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that is not too distracting for some of you. But yeah, it's just, again, just looks a little bit different because, yeah, it's kind of like an inverted system. So it's a little bit distracting. And if it is too much, I can kind of figure it out. So yeah. So, okay. So where do we start? Okay, so I got these devices, the Nokia devices, continue testing. Very good battery life, especially when they're, kind of like in the offline or not using the VoLTE. They continue working pretty well. So that's that. How do I? There has to be a way. Give me a second. I just hate. It's bothering me, I think. Let me see. Okay, so that's that. If I flip vertically, how do I flip horizontally? Let's try it again. Where was that? Transform. There it is. And flip vertical. Oh, perfect. There you go. Magic of software. Okay, now we're good. It's not bothering me anymore. It was just bothering me a lot. Okay, so we have the intro today. Let me start writing some of the timestamps for the people that watch it later. I know that's always appreciated. Today we'll have the intro. We're going to talk about some dumb phones. And also we're going to talk about minimal phone updates. There's a couple of things that need to be in the community. Then we're going to talk about maybe a couple of updates coming out with the light phone. Yeah, and that kind of stuff. I see some questions. Mm-hmm. I see some questions. I like the questions. Make sure to put them there. And again, apologies for eating on camera. I'm just starting my day a little later today. Just took the dog out, finished a call, and then we're here. Okay, so I've been testing the different devices here. Nokia 235 and Nokia 3210. Very snappy, very nice. These games are not that great. And you play the free trials, and after that, they don't disappear, but you cannot use them anymore. Text messages is still very similar experience. It does have T9 correction on my video. So if you press this key, the pound key, for an extended period of time on the type message function, you will see right there Come on. I don't know what's. Okay, let me see. Aha, there it is. So if you press it, it gives you the brightness, Bluetooth, dual SIM, and then it gives you predictive text. And you can change the predictive text to off or Portuguese, Español, Italiano, and those are the 4 that allows you for the predictive text, which I think is great. So a little bit of a correction for my previous video where I said that it didn't have it. At least it was not easy to find. I kept pressing this key because that's how I activated it on the 225, but for some reason, it didn't do what it had to do. But both devices are good. In my opinion, in my estimation, they're actually quite very robust, for the most part. I prefer the 3210 because honestly, the buttons are better. I like the buttons better. That's just a personal preference maybe, but I just like them better. They're more defined. It's kind of like an island right here for the cursor. This one is kind of like more seamless. So it just depends on what you want. You want a bigger screen, you want, something like that. Then, kind of like you need to see what it works out. So, okay, let's test T9. I'll show you right there, T9. Okay. Hello. And as you see, there are more things that you can add right there. So adding a exoskeleton. Nope. Am I even exo? No, that doesn't even go further. I wish it did. Exoskeleton, right? Does that have a hyphen? Maybe it does. I don't know. Anyways, good devices. Does have T9. Does have the radio. This is actually one of my favorite things that you don't need a 3.5mm headphone jack for the radio. I actually think that's great. Very, very welcome. At least for me, and like all the stations. My favorite station is 90.1. It's the NPR station. I love the NPR station. I just listen. I love listening to public radio, and I don't know why. But whenever I'm on the car or on a bike trip, I just put the radio. I feel like it's so cool. Okay. Thank you, Andrea, for that. I think. Let me correct some things here. Sometimes the sensitivity of this thing goes a little bit lower. So yeah. Thank you for letting me know if you can barely hear me. I'm just trying to correct that here in software. So just let me know, if you're able to hear me well. Okay, maybe if I angle it like that as well, it'll be a little bit better. Right there. Okay, so what else? What else do we have in the Dumbphone world? We do have to talk about a couple of things online. Any updates that you guys want to see with these two devices? So eventually I'll give them away because they don't really work here in the United States. I'm going to have to send them back to Europe. So European giveaway, finally, for a lot of you that, kind of lament that most of my giveaways are here in the United States, but I'll be able to, do that. Actually, I do have a friend coming in the summer. From Germany, so I'll probably just send it with them. And then they'll post it from over there so that, I don't have any customs and, all that kind of stuff that always goes crazy. All right. Let's see. Yeah, it's working now. It's working. Perfect. More updates. Okay. Yes. I've been charging the devices this morning so that we can talk about them. So we have the Hit K1 right here. Let's go over a couple updates. So the Hit K1 came back into production. They had gone away from production, and now they are back into production. So that is definitely something that is always welcome when companies come back and they are continually, doing what they have to do, which is support customers, right? So apparently, I think they had an issue with some of the keypad stuff. So they came back to the market with the Hit. So the Hit K1 is now available again. And if you prefer a slide QWERTY keyboard, then I think this is the only option that you have, especially here in the United States. If you're other parts of the world, you probably have more options just due to the fact that you have a couple of extra 2G, 3G phones that work. Okay. Waiting there for it to work. But I charged it. Make sure to kind of update you guys on that. This one I didn't charge, but I will showcase. Mine phone also had an update. Very nice update, actually. And I need to show that to you. Where are you? Aha. Okay. I'll start charging it. But this one actually, let me see. Maybe it does have enough. I was testing it the other day. So it may have some charge. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Mindful phone. So had a good thing. Okay, let's see. There it is. Okay, there it is. Sorry, I'm putting my pin. Okay. So yes, a couple of things. If you've never seen the HitPhone K1, it does have context history, messages, media, photos, tools, Waze, and that's about it. I believe it has Gmail as well, so you're able to load some of your Gmail stuff right there. And it works pretty well. It does have Wi-Fi and a lot of extra functionality, so it's definitely a decent device. Now the price is a little bit of the difficulty here, but I mean, they're the only QWERTY full slide out keyboard. You kind of have to contend with whatever they have, and at least they are trying to support and to do their best in that department. Okay. All right, we'll see. We'll see if that charges. Okay, Waze right there. This is how it works, as you'll see. And yeah, a good phone. I think it's a good phone. So since it doesn't have a touchscreen, you kind of have to navigate with just like right there, the cursor. Boom, right there. There you go. Let's search for gas stations. I'm gonna go to Farm Fresh and go. And that's pretty much it. Good functionality, basic functionality, and of course, the slide-out keyboard. My phone is working. Okay, so that's an update on the K1. I think if you're interested in the QWERTY, lifestyle and that kind of stuff, good device. A dumb phone that I showcased on a YouTube short. This is still on alpha, and you can go to Sleke.io to kind of like go look for this. Let me go here to screen capture and kind of showcase to you what I'm talking about. Oh, what happened here? These settings should already be okay. There it is. Sorry, I don't know what happened with my browser before. So let's go Sleke. Oh, I know why. I had to change some things here. So we're looking at Sleke.io. So this is what we're going to look to next, which is this device that I have here. Boom, right there. So it's like it's a smartphone, a customized phone, that is. But it does have a focused app store that includes different things, and it doesn't include distractions. It's essentially a Google Fi, and they have it's about $300. So, and right now they're in alpha, so it's not the final version of the device. But let me show this off right now. So this is how it looks. It's Again, just a smartphone looking, but as you see right there, it does have some utilities. And in specific, it does have a store. Right there. So the store is what I think differentiates this from other competitors, which is like, as you see right there, it does have some apps that are focused and they're for work, right? So like if you use 7 Shifts, employee scheduling, Canvas, if you use email, they do have some email. Grasshopper, I don't know what that is. Life 360, some people use that. I know it's quite popular. Scanner, PayPal, there's a lot of other things. Simple practice for clinicians. That's a very niche one right there. So what they're doing is essentially they're working on this together, and like collecting feedback from the alpha users to have a robust store that allows you to use WhatsApp. And I mean, this one I prescribe is probably somebody in the alpha that is a doctor or something like that, right? But they're trying to like make sure that is an app store that expands and that you're able to update things, but that it's not distracting. So I think it's a good project. I've been using it 1 week out of my month in order to kind of like, like test it and kind of see like, oh, is this something that can help me? So I've been testing it. And then the feature that I think is amazing is their search feature. So let's say you're looking for a recipe or looking for random information online or whatever you need, recipe for smoothie. Web search. Here's a simple recipe for a delicious and refreshing smoothie. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? I mean, you don't have to go to the web, go into the black hole, but you still have that. And you can ask, of course, other random questions. Like, for example, NBA scores, right? NBA scores. Let's see what it fetches. Okay, they're not available. But maybe if I put something more, Dallas. I'm a Mavs fan, so sorry for those of you who are not Mavs fans. Mavs versus Timberwolves. Okay, let's see. The Dallas Mavericks won the first game of their series against the Timberwolves 108-105 with Luka Doncic scoring 33, 6, and 8 assists. There you go. So you get some of that kind of like going back and forth. So how's the audio, by the way? I see a lot of signals kind of like going down, and I just want to make sure that the audio is representative of what I'm saying. I don't know if it's like choppy or something. Today I have a new setup and I'm trying something different, so I don't know if it's working 100%. So just wanted to double check. 1 2 1 2. Okay. Hello. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Perfect. Quit this. Just maybe it's the RAM. It's kind of like going slow a little bit, but okay. Cool. Perfect. So that's a little bit of these kind of like updates. One more thing to update is. This is actually a very positive update in my opinion. So the Kyocera Dura XV is revamping their T9 engine. So a lot of you have had the Kyocera before and it wasn't the best experience for the T9, the predictive text, and they're revamping their experience completely. And they're going to have a update coming, I believe they told me this summer, sometime this summer, early fall. They're looking into doing an update. And I'm really, really happy about that because, I think it's going to be a winner, Here, let me adjust a little bit of the focus. Okay, manual, please. Thank you. There you go. Now we're good. Okay, give me a second. I need to take this out. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. That should work. So Kyocera, good phone, very good. very nice. But they're coming up with a couple of updates that will help, especially in the messaging department. So, you know, like new message, and right here for the engine, they're going to be helping a lot in this on this specific department. So I think that's something that I'm going to be looking forward to. Whenever they come out with that, I will update. I'll make a video right now. So right now it kind of like defaults to that, and you know, you kind of use it, and you have to press the key in order to select the prediction. But they're working on it so that when you press 0, it automatically goes, or like space, it goes into that prediction automatically. So again, companies that are listening and improving devices, those are my favorite companies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is still at 4%. I'm going to turn it on though. Okay, let's start with some first preliminary questions. So, if you have a question, oh, actually, let me go into some web searching stuff. Okay, so let's see. We talked about Sleke. So updates 0.0.1. Updates on Nokia. Hit K1. Sleke and Kyocera. Perfect. Now it's, what time is it? 22 minutes in. We're going to look into the minimal phone. And we're going to look into the Hisense? No, Bigme. Bigme phone, etc. Okay, so let's look into the minimal phone. So a couple of developments have happened since, you know, this has been highly commented in the community. So a lot of people are like, hey, what's going on with this? Is this a good phone? Should I buy it? Etc. etc. So minimal company, they have an Indiegogo. And as you see, it has changed. The device is different now than it used to be. As you see, this used to be the prototype. And now it looks very different. So a couple of things, let me show you. At the end of the day, they have changed, and there are certain things that have happened. I don't see the original one. Okay. So the original design used to be smaller. And then something happened that they had to change the design, and I can tell you what happened. At least from what I can see and what I know as, you know, some of these things, right? Like, and how it all works. So essentially what happens is they designed, you know, a prototype, something that looked like this. It was supposed to be sleek and nice and very good looking and that kind of stuff, right? But what happens with a lot of these projects is when you get into the manufacturing portion, you know, you have to contend with what's available. So they could create something as sleek and as really nice to what they designed first, but they need tons of money in order to make that happen. And because they don't have tons of money, they just have to contend with what they have, right? So they got around $700,000 worth of funds, which is a lot of money. But then you have to look into what the manufacturer already possesses, and what they possess is this. The first design that came was a little bit polarizing. So it was like very blocky and kind of like, you know, very square looking. And I'll tell you why. Where is it? It's because it's based out of this phone. I mean, this is just the reality, right? This is what they have available. And I don't blame them for just what it is. You know, it's just that these are the parts that are available. So I'll showcase to you what I'm talking about. So this right here is the Unihertz device. This is the Unihertz phone, the Titan Slim. It's not slim. It's quite thick, actually. But as you see, it's the same ratio as the other device that I just showed you, right? Right there. Look at that. Now look at this one. Wow, they look pretty much the same. Why is that? Well, that is because those are the parts that are available with the devices. And as you see right here, this is a USB-C, same placement for the other device. And at the top, of course, it has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which this one does not have. So when you go into the inventory, right, when you go into the reality of like, okay, hey, this is what the manufacturer can actually do in mass, instead of creating a new mold and all of that, this is what they came up with. It was quite boxy and stuff like that. And people were like, this is not what we backed, you know, yada, 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 because they increased a lot of things, right? So like the display went from 3.5 to 4.3, which is the same display as this one right here. Then the kind of like, they say more comfortable keyboard, RAM, like, you know, the processor changed because that's what's available here. And I'm not saying this is the exact copy that they're using. I'm just saying like these are the parts that are off the shelf, right? Because that's what's available. And then they refined it, and now they have made, I think it's still a good looking phone, you know, like don't get me wrong. But it's slowly inching away from the original design, and you have to be okay with that. And you also have to be okay with like, hey, are you willing to, you know, give your money to a project that has at this point, you know, doing some updates. I give them that, but they need to do more of the, hey, this is the prototype, this is the device that we're producing, that kind of stuff, right? So they're going in the right direction, in my opinion. And you know, I think it's up to you to decide like, hey, do I really want to be engaged with these different designs and different changes that have happened? And yeah, so, you know, kind of like something that you need to decide. I think they're going for the full smartphone, just with e-ink and a QWERTY keyboard. So combining everything for a lot of people. It's not minimal in that sense, but it's minimal in like, hey, you know, it does have e-ink, it does have a keyboard, so it's not going to be the full screen, that kind of stuff. So that's an update on the minimal phone, what I found out. And then the Bigme, it's called the High Break. So there it is, Bigme High Break. So this is a e-ink smartphone that is going to come to the market. 5.84 inches with a camera. Processor and storage is octa-core MTK. You know, too many ads here or too many things. 8 gigs of RAM, 256. It's going to have two variants. So it is going to have a variant with a MediaTek Dimensity 900 or an octa-core MTK 6765, and it's going to be priced around this. $249 to $369 for the color version, $219 to $339 for the black and white version. So as you see right here, this is what they're bringing. They're bringing to market a e-ink phone, which I mean, it's again similar to, without the QWERTY keyboard, of course, to what the minimal is doing. But this trend is catching up, and I think that's a positive thing because it's going to be very helpful for these companies. I just did a review of one of their tablets. I did their Inknote color. I think is this one. No, I did the X, which was more expensive. Yeah, this one right here, the Inknote Kaleido 3 device. For $669, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow unless you're completely changing your system for it. But you know, I hope that their phone is going to be good for a lot of people that are looking to minimize and try to do something different. All right, cool. So some updates on that. Yes, this one has now 9%. We can do something with that. This is the Mindful phone. Let me go back to switching here. Turn that off. So that is the Mindful phone right there. Let's go and refocus. Nope, it's not good. Sorry guys. There it is. Boom. There you go. Okay, with 9%, I can show you the changes that have been made, so that's not that big of an issue. So the Mindful phone, another company. You can get this for actually a very good price right now on US Mobile. I was looking at it the other day. Oh, darn it. US Mobile. You can get it for $279, which is actually the cost of the phone, but you get 1 full year of their unlimited talk and text. So you get a year of service and a device for $279, which I think is a good deal. You know, for service, you get kind of like that discount, and you get the device essentially for $200. You know, everything included if you were to put like the two things together. Good. I personally think it's a good deal. So go check it out if that's something that interests you. But they did a very nice update. So before, their UI was a little bit clunky, you know, like it had some things that I wasn't super enthused, like, you know, the way that it swiped, but now is, it's very nice with this. So like like if you swipe, what is going on? Oh, it's teaching me how to do it. Okay. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. There it is. Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't know that was changed actually. So some things have changed that I even didn't notice. Okay, so you have the notification shade there now. Let's activate the battery saver, so you know it'll go a little bit better. Perfect. Okay, so if you swipe here on the right side, it goes to the kind of like the system and you know the apps that you have, which is really nice. Before it used to be a little bit more laggy because you had to do the swipe to the side, but now it's quite nice. You know, it's like, hey, right there, boom. And then if you hold, you have now this menu where you can switch apps, which again, I think it's also a very welcome improvement. So another company that is listening and making improvements, which is what I want to see. And like, I personally think that, that's honestly what I want to see. More companies getting into the market that are like the light phone, that are, you know, like mindful, that are like Kyocera, listening to consumers and figuring it out what's best for them and making improvements on their phones that have already been released. Oh, Sunbeam, another company that also listens to their customer base and makes improvements based on that. But very, very nice update. Graphically, the phone feels nicer, fast, you know, and it's kind of just like something that I personally think. Something that I definitely think about this phone in specific is like if they could shrink it just a little bit more. You know, the screen doesn't need to be this ginormous, especially for non-smartphone. So that, I think that will help them overall. But, you know, of course, again, I'll rather have a phone that I don't necessarily like everything about that receives updates than a phone that is the best phone in design but doesn't receive any updates. Like the Nokias. I love the Nokia designs, but they never update it. So that's why I have a hard time sometimes, you know, kind of like recommending them, because I'm like, okay, if you are willing to live without updates and without, you know, the company listening to whatever you need, sure, go get a Nokia. And if you're not, then, you know, go get something else. So, all right, cool. That concludes our update cycle things. So let's go over some questions. I'll eat my last piece of bread. All right. Very good day. Very good day so far. Okay. Let's go over some questions that you guys put in the chat. Okay, so Andrea says, I can't wait to hear more about the comment Jose recently made on Reddit about the iPhone 4. Yeah. Okay, so the 4 was a joke, but let me maybe give you an update of what I know so far, which is not much different than what you guys know, but the timeline is getting closer. Let's go on Reddit. Let's go to a light phone, and let's go here to this this mistake right here. Let's see. How can I? Right here. Screen capture. There it is. So we have the so in this picture right here, if you notice right there, it says, unfortunately, the Light Phone 3 is not currently compatible with your local carriers in your region. And the compatibility checker, it's supposed to say Light Phone 2, but it says Light Phone 3. Why? Well, yeah, it's getting closer, guys. Like, it's just getting closer to, and this is where, like, I said Light Phone 4 right there, and the people are still search for that. But yes, it is getting closer to really, well, to announcement. Let's put it that way. Right. It's, now the summer, and, there are other things coming up, but I would say it's still far away. It's still not going to be right away this year. It's still not going to come. The Light Phone 3 I don't think it's going to come this year. I really highly doubt it. And if Joe has different information, he'll come on the podcast, on the channel, and tell us. But yeah, I think the Light Phone 3 is coming soon. The announcement is going to come at some point in time this year, I believe. And it's going to be an alternative. Let me say that like that. It's going to be an alternative to the Light Phone 2. So if you're looking for a phone like the Light Phone 2, the Light Phone 3 is not going to be an exact carbon copy that just has better specs and more things. It's going to be a completely different alternative for somebody that has a different lifestyle. So if you're looking for a Light Phone 2 and you're looking for certain things like improvements to it, also there's a big improvement coming to the Light Phone 2, I believe, by the end of the month. And I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with it. And it's going to be kind of like a multi-tool that allows you to gather information, and I think it's going to be great. A lot of very, very welcome improvements are coming for the Light Phone, coming soon. So yeah, there you go. There you have your question, a little answer, Andrea. Hopefully that satisfies. But the updates are coming for the Light Phone 2. The quality of life updates are coming quite fast, and there's going to be a lot of activity from them. I think it's going to be a very good stuff coming soon. All right, let's continue. Off topic, but is there a way to implement talk to text using side-loaded apps or AKF on the Kyocera Dura XV Extreme? The closest I can get to that, there was this apps for flip. Let's see. There's a voice access app. There was a voice access app here, but I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to reach out. But I believe there was a voice to text assistant kind of like app that allow you to do that on the Kyocera. The only other thing that I can think of is G-Voice keyboard. So there are two functions on the Google Voice keyboard, and there is one. I don't remember the exact. APK, but I remember on Gboard there is a specific key that allows you to put the like command or like the voice to text attached to it. And I remember somebody saying that was possible on the Kyocera Extreme XV because it does have the cursor that you're able to tap that and maintain a tap in order to do voice to text. So I would look into that, Scott. Like try to find that voice to text sweet kind of like area. And yeah, it's kind of like I think that those are some of the maybe workarounds. There used to be a voice to text app on apps for flip, but I guess they don't have it anymore. I don't remember what it was called, so I'm kind of like, but they have something like that. I mean, maybe try to go to the help center or contact them and see if they have anything that they can help you with that. But I do remember somebody was playing around with that for the Kyocera Dura XV Extreme. Okay. All right, let's continue with more questions. So if you have questions, put it right now because we're going over that. So 0, 30, I think 37. We started Q&A number 1. Okay. All right. All right, let's see. Do you like the Nokia the best? If you just need calls and texts, I think is the cost-effective, manner of using devices, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think they make good phones, but don't expect any updates or anything from them. Just use them as is. Okay, let's see. Do you consider the TIC Mini M5 a good option if you don't want to go for the Xiaomi F21, F22 in regards to the US market? Yes, I think so. The Xiaomi F21 to F22 are better because they're cheaper. But if you're in the US market, the M5 is a good option, and it does get the job. They're actually updating a few things. They did this FCC certification, so that just has a lot of good things. Andrea asked if there was a Hit K1 Maps app. I think I covered that. Yes, there is. There's ways, and you can use it with the cursor. It's a little bit wonky, but you get used to it. Okay. Blue Tank Flip with Android Go tomorrow. Oh, hey Ayame. Yeah, I'm glad that you are getting your phone soon. I'm excited about that. I'm actually getting something later today. I'm getting one of these. I know it's a polarizing device right now, and everybody's like, it's a scam or it doesn't work as it intended. Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know soon about it. I think, let me see where my order is at. I think it was out for delivery, so I hope to have it today, but I mean, stuff happens. Let me see. Rabbit R1 on my email tracking. It is, because if it delivers in the next few moments in the area, I can guarantee you that I will go get it and we'll play around with it. So that will be a very good expected May 23. Yeah, no, it's not. It's still there out there for delivery. I'll check in before the end of the live stream to see if it's still around. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually excited about this device. I know there's a lot of doubts, there's a lot of difficulties, but I think that it can do something. I mean, having this, I don't care about the conversation or stuff like that. I just think if it can deliver eventually, I know it's not going to deliver right away. I've seen the reviews, but if it can deliver on the two things, these are the things that I'm actually, the ones that are available. Rideshare, music. If it can do those two things, over this year, if it gets better, which I've read that has been getting better, I'm good. I don't need the generative AI. I don't need the vision. I don't need the note taking. Translation is nice to have, AI, I don't care about this kind of stuff. But ticketing, rideshare, music, oh man, that is some of the biggest pain points as a Dumbphone user. It's having something oh, I'm going into the arena, and I'm going to be doing going into watching a show or whatever, and it's just man, I need that QR code, and sometimes I just have my light phone and I have to go and kind of work on it and go to the ticket resolution counter. It's just a little bit of an inconvenience, and I don't mind it. I've learned how to do it at this point. But if I have one device that does all of those smart things that I don't need a smartphone for, that's why I'm excited about the Rabbit R1. So I'll be doing a review soon, so you'll see how it works. And I am not, as maybe I'm not going to be as disappointed if it doesn't work day one, because I know it's going to get better over time. And that's what I actually want. I want a company that stays for the long term. Okay. More questions. Let's see. How have you found signal strength on the Mindful phone? Good question. The Oh, there was one before, but I'll get to that. The strength is, I would say, 4 out of 5 in most conditions. So I haven't had many issues in most places that I visit in the metro area. But whenever I go into rural areas or I travel, whenever I'm testing these devices, the Mindful phone did not perform as great, and I think that's just because of the bands. It does have a good majority of the bands, but I don't think it has all of them. So, but in most conditions, if you're in the city or if you're like not in a super rural area, I think it's going to do pretty good. Ayame says, any thoughts on the Blue Tank Flip? It's a very decent call and text device. You can load a couple of extra applications here and there. They're not going to work perfectly, but if you just need phone call, text message, and you want to reduce your usage of technology, I think it's a good option. Okay. Ariana says, do you think there will be a resurgence of demand for flip phones with 2000s, 2012 designs, 4G capability? Currently, most dumb phones are hyper minimalist or utilitarian. Good question. Let me take some coffee for that one. No, I don't think so. The reason why is not actually because I don't think there won't be any, right? So I think there will be some retro designs making it back. But this is the main reason. I'll show you the main reason. When you go into AliExpress, right, which is or Alibaba, okay. I don't know what happened. So when you go to AliExpress and you look for basic phone, this is what you will see. So you see either the old phones, you see some of the new ones, and then you see this kind of like, hey, these are unlocked devices, the jellies. You also have the Titan Slim, and most of it's either already made, pre-made, like the utilitarian design, right? Senior big push button right there. Or it is super smart, right? Or it's like a completely recycled old design. Look at this one, like the Servo mini phone right there. That actually looks kind of interesting. Wow, that's like copycats of like so many different devices. But as you see, the manufacturers already have a template, right? They have a template of what they can produce. And because of that, it's difficult to go into the very niche devices that in the past were made. So let's go into here and what's it called? Bounce. So one of the members of the community is trying to do the Bounce B1, which he is right now. Nope. But Techno, here's the author. Let's go into his posts. And first design render. There it is. So this is the first design render from this guy, Technophobe Doro. And he's trying to revive this design with 4G and, a couple of the really nice things. However, I don't know if it's going to materialize, because even though you can render something, the manufacturers like Alibaba and, those are the ones that truly have the slide phone. Like, let's just go into slide cell phones, and like look it up here. I don't see anything, right? So like, I mean, these are old designs, already made. There's no new configurations. So I think it's going to be harder to create a phone from scratch that looks like the old phones, because the parts, they have to be manufactured, custom, and that just takes a lot of money. And this market is not massive. So because of that, you're kind of like, here, there's an example. This is, as you see right there, a OEM. You can customize it, 4G, QWERTY keypad, Android phone. But most of the parts are already kind of like decided. Like there's a kind of like, this looks like a rim. What's it called? This looks like a rim BlackBerry. But I mean, the back, look at the back. Like the back is kind of like already telling you it's going to be a longer phone than you want, because they're trying to fit it into a certain mold that they already have and that they can make. Same thing with this one right here. It's like, hey, these are the possibilities, but this is what we have. This is what it's kind of like pre-made, right? Like this is what we can give you. And because of that, because they only have those things, I personally think that it's going to be harder to create something more unique, 2000s, 2012 design. I think some companies will do it, but most people or most companies won't. So, all right. Jippy, LP2 or Punkt MP02 for Finland as a dumb phone? Good question. I don't know if there is compatibility, the light phone, for Finland. I'm not 100%, but let me check. I never checked. I know Sweden does have it, so Finland. Oh, perfect. Okay, it uses it. You will need the international version, and it works with Elisa, DNA, and Alcom, not Telia or Ukkoverkot or Ukkoverkot. One of the two. Don't know which one it is. So, okay, good question. So now that I know this one works, let me think about it. So when it comes to the, usually my opinions, light phone versus Punkt is what are your needs, right? So do you need group text messages, SMS? If you don't, then, probably the Punkt may be better just for calls. Punkt is really nice design. I really enjoyed the design, but the problem is a little bit, I don't think they update their devices often, and that's the problem. I think they did an update a few months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, maybe, but they are more focused on their MC02 project, which is their smartphone, than on the Punkt MP02 nowadays, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. Let me see, where are the updates here? Features. They changed their website. Okay, software release notes. There it is. MP02. So the last time that they did a release was this month for Pigeon. So about 20 days ago for Pigeon, but they haven't done an update non-Pigeon related for a while, clearly. I mean, it's been probably since 2023. Yeah. So again, they are doing Pigeon. Like this was in March. This one was now in May. So every 2 months, updating the base for Signal, 6.35. Now it's 7.13. Yeah. So Punkt MP02 has not seen a phone update for a little while now. And the Pigeon is being developed, which is a good thing. If you need Signal, then I definitely think that's a good thing. Oh, here it is. See, last update was August 2023 for the UI or fixing stuff. And I think that's a problem, right? Whereas on the light phone side, and this is why I personally use them, and I've used them for so long. It's just this, the software version and changelog. May 10, May 9, a couple patches, April 5, April 1, March 11, January 16, January 8, November 2, October 4, September 27. Like, I mean, every month or two, they're improving their phone. And as a result, you also see a quality of life improvement in your usage of the device. So because of that, you know, I think that I personally prefer the light phone. But if you just want phone calls and better battery life, then no doubt the Punkt MP02 is better. So I would say list what's important to you. Like, make a list of the things that are important to you. And after you make a list of those things, then after you make a list of those things, then go for it. Like, okay, this is the phone that matches that list. Like, do I appreciate do I appreciate this? Do I do this? That kind of stuff is that important to me. Okay. I'm going to follow up at the bottom because GP has another says, I really like the light phone company, but only minus is they don't have QWERTY without AAO lettering yet. I will go back and get my light phone because I believe they do. Talk about one more alternative as well today. I think that's important. So let's go over the light phone. And there it is. Okay. So light phone 2. It's going to compose a message. Phone. Oh. Is this a 2FA code? Okay, I won't show that. Give me a second. This is spam. I don't care if their number shows because this is spam. Yay, go call all of these spammers. So here's a light phone. And if you press this, I believe there are further characters, right? So that is A with an umlaut. Yep, right there. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna go closer so you can see it right there. So if you press the A, you get right there. A with an umlaut, A with, I don't know what the top sign accent mark that is just a circle is. I don't know what that's called, but it's right there. And then you want it O with an umlaut, which if you press the O, you also get O special characters right there, which may only be available for, kind of like specific instances and whatnot. So GP, there you go. If that was your only caveat with the QWERTY keyboard not having those symbols, now you know it does. It does have them. So. Okay, one more thing, not related to dumb phones, but recently I got the if you're a coffee person, highly recommend the Onesie Espresso Q2 manual coffee grinder. It has been amazing. Like the grinded quality, you can adjust it. So like fine, medium, or coarse for French press, and it's just been a delight. I purchased it just a few days ago. It came and oh my gosh, like my coffee is so much better. It really makes a difference what you use for your coffee. So highly recommend, go get yourself one. If you want me to put the link, I'll put the link right there. The Onesie Espresso. And if you use the link, I do get a little bit of whatever, so, appreciate that. Q2, not the big one. So I like the small one, for 1 cup. I personally think it's good enough. Yeah, oh my gosh, like my coffee is just so much better, and I am delighted to have that, to have better coffee. So, um, here, let me open it up here and paste the link. So if you want to get better coffee, Once Espresso Q2, very good. All right, good, 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 good. All right, more questions. Good, you guys are bringing the questions. That's why I do this live stream for. So let's continue with the live stream and more questions. Okay, so next question is Mikolash. It says, would you consider interviewing someone from HMD? I don't think they get the missed potential of their phones in our niche. Absolutely. I actually have reached out before to see if we can get an interview going, but I haven't heard back, and it is what it is. I'll probably reach out again and see what they say. But I would definitely love to. I mean, like, I think Nokia definitely misses out on the potential they have. I mean, right now they released the 3210, and they are only releasing the cloud apps for certain markets, which I think it's a bummer. I don't think I see. No, okay, this is just an article. It doesn't really. Some people have made their impressions and that kind of stuff, but like the guy at Puffin OS. Here, let's see. Puffin OS Nokia. Okay, let's see. That was old. Puffin OS for non-smartphones. There it is, Puffin Cloud Phone. I think that's what they're calling it. So they're having this technology, especially for, kind of like, okay, their guy talks about it on LinkedIn a lot. Let me go LinkedIn. Search. Puffin Cloud. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Okay, I'll try to find it, but there is a guy always talking about this in the circles that I see. And essentially what's happening is the Puffin ecosystem is now used for UPI payments and for a couple of extra things that are enabling non-smartphones. Maybe this is the one. Aha. Cheap phones have never been this good. How Cloud Phone is transforming low-end feature phones with premium user experiences. So the Cloud Phone right there, it's essentially cloud apps. And they are allowing a lot of these devices to have certain access to, kind of like certain extra abilities like payments or QR codes and things like that, because they're running it through the Puffin web browser, which I think it's smart. I think it's actually very smart. But they're restricting this feature to only like Nokia devices in a certain region. And I think they should just open it up for everybody. I'm like, sometimes I need stuff like here in the United States, because yes, I do have access to I do have access to buying a smartphone, but I don't have a smartphone, so I want to use it. So I think it's something that they don't get, right? Like, they're not listening to what needs to be done. So there you go. Okay, let's continue. More questions. Are there some good Android flip phones that will work in Europe? Yes, there are. Here, let me do a cheat sheet on the Dumbphone Finder. Let me go for, which, by the way, 4 stars and shape. Perfect. That's why I use my own I use my like the thing I created to answer my own questions, or like questions that I want to answer to you guys. But one thing that I wanted to mention for Europe, Sunbeam is trying to get into the European market, and I think that's going to be good. So Sunbeam Wireless is going to whoa, not my account, not my account. That's my account. Sunbeam Wireless. So the F Horizon and F1 Pro, they're probably going to come with a version that is for Europe. So be on the lookout. That's going to be a good one. And then for the Dumbphone Finder, so you asked for flip phones. Let's put international. That works with Vodafone UK. There it is. 3 options: Doro 7030, Doro 6620, and Doro 6880. And the Emporia Touch Smart 2. This one right here, Emporia Touch Smart 2. It's a good phone, and it does have a very decent performance. Here are the bands and that kind of stuff, and it can install, because it has a touchscreen, it can install some APKs, and you're able to customize it even further for whatever it is that you need. So those are 3 options. I need to add this into my Dumbphone Finder so that people can find it. And it is, let me see if I can put also 5 stars. No 5 stars. Ooh, I think this is wrong. This logic is wrong. This logic is wrong. Logic is wrong. Yes, because it's doing and instead of and or this and that plus that. So I will, or, which is another thing. Okay. Another option is the 2660. So if you go into the 2660, the international version, that one's good if you only need like the main basics. And the Doro devices or the Emporia are better if you need like something specific, like an app or two, not too overloaded, but also, not too bad. Okay. More questions. TCL, I'm going to assume the Flip 2. Yes, that's what, yeah. Versus Kyocera Direct V. Which do you think it's easier for a total beginner to customize? The Kyocera Direct V is easier to customize. The TCL and the Kyocera have extremely similar performance, and I would encourage you to learn the TCL guide and how to customize it. Because it will give you a skill. Number one, you learn how it works. And number two, it's cheaper, right? You're talking about $40 or like, $29.99 plus whatever it is on TracFone versus $250. But if you're looking for easier out of the gate, then definitely recommend the Kyocera Direct V. Sounds good. Okay, let's continue. More questions. Let me kill this here. We're probably going to use the Dumbphone Finder a little bit later on, so I'll keep it there. Let's close some things here. Okay. What else? Next question is, any info on Mudita Compact? No. As far as I know, it's the same as it was before. There was a they're on their campaign for their watch right now. But what was their latest discussion? Okay. Well, there is an FCC. Definitely, there's before the end of the month, new update from them. So let's just look into it. And yeah, they have coming up next. They have an FCC certificate report, which is good. I mean, they're already through with that, which is good. But I think it's just going to be a long, elongated smartphone-like device, but it's going to be reduced in that specific feature set, right? Like it's going to be more of like a mindful device than it is going to be a device that is fully a smartphone. At least that's what they have told me so far. So essentially an e-ink device, but that right, it's going to be a smart device, but not too smart. Maybe that's how I'm going to put it. Okay, more questions. David says, do you have more or updated info on turning your phone into a dumb phone or iPhone? There's still value in certain apps that can't be found on dumb phones. Yeah, I do have a phone here. I can show you that. Show some of that. So here's a phone. So let's do a demo. So you have an iPhone, fine. You need an app for whatever reason. Here's a brick. This is a product, costs $49. You open the app. You tap to brick. You tap the ready to scan. Sometimes it's finicky. So you scan. Where's the NFC on this? Sorry, okay. Let me try it again. Did it do it? No, it didn't do it. Tap the top of your phone on the brick. Okay, there it is. Okay, now I did it. So I tapped the top of my phone on the brick, right? This NFC tag. And look, when I try to access the games, this is a distraction. Your phone is currently bricked. To access Clash Royale, tap on your brick. If I want to access anything, essentially, I only left it so that I can access Transit because Transit is important. Or Discord. Just put an example there, honestly. Or messages. Or WhatsApp. It's calling my mom, being a good son. If I want to access email, this is a distraction. So just get one of these. That's my latest guide. I mean, like, honestly, like, I think that, David, help me understand why would this not work for you? If it wouldn't work for you, maybe you didn't know about brick. There are other devices in the market right now, and I'll showcase a couple on the screen capture. So let's go to get brick. But I want to hear from you. If would that be enough, right? Like, so brick, unbricked. You have access to the capabilities. You have the device. You tap, you get access to it. You don't tap, and you don't have access to it as much as you want. Then you have Clear Space, right? So that's another app that essentially blocks your phone. This one is actually very interesting because they now just rolled a feature that you have to do push-ups to gain some time for using your device. So if you want to use your phone, you do like 5 push-ups, and that gives you like 5 minutes or something like that. You can make it harder or easier according to your needs. And then you have unplug, right? So you have unplug, very similar concept. You have a tag, NFC tag. You tap it and you have access to whatever you need. You don't tap it, you don't have access to whatever you need, right? So these are 3 things that I have, looked into. The one that I like the best, just my personal preference, is brick. And the reason why is because it's not subscription based. It's one-time payment, and I prefer one-time payments for the most part. So I think that that's the easiest way to work on your kind of like, hey, I still need a smartphone. I sometimes need to use this for testing some stuff. So, I sometimes have to use an iPhone, and when I have to use an iPhone for the day, I just tap it, don't give myself access to any app, and then I'm good to go. David followed up. It says, what is the difference between the brick unplug versus using the screen time feature that can block apps? You have to use this to unblock it. That's the difference. So with screen time, you can just tap and override your desire. With the unplug, you have to like actually tap this device in order to actually access it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can disable everything, right? Like, I mean, this is why I don't think personally, just my opinion, that these are long-term solutions. These are hacks that work for a lot of people, and that's great. But at the end of the day, you could go and uninstall, reset your phone, start from scratch, whatever it is that you need, and, you know, like, beat the hacks because it's your phone at the end of the day, right? Like, you know, so if you want to do that, that's okay, right? But it's up to you, right? Like, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's up to you. It's up to like what you want to do. But the thing that I like of Brick and Unplug is that it has a physical device that you need to tap in order to do that, you know. And going further, you can also like do something like grayscale, right? So that helps even further. I have it configured like that. So, you know, now you have it on grayscale, and even using the device is less enticing. But again, these are hacks. These are things that you can beat. These are things that you can, you know, kind of like use with whatever it is that you want. But, you know, if I want to use the app again, I cannot use it until I tap this. So, you know, I will, the other way around. Boom. So I tap it, ready to scan, and there you go. I can go back to Brave. I can go back to Reddit. So if I want to go on Reddit, but if I want to block myself from Reddit, I have a physical object that right there that blocks it. This is a distraction. I cannot bypass it unless I tap the physical object again, which I think is genius, right? I think it's better than relying on software only, because hardware is, you know, more of like a difficulty. There's another company that just came out. They sent me a sample of what they're coming up with. They're more focused on sleep, I believe. Sleep for REM, I think that's what it's called. Or for REM sleep. Device. Yep, there it is, for REM. So similar concept, turn your bedroom into a phone-free sanctuary. So it's kind of like a, again, NFC device kind of stuff. And you tap into it and it blocks everything, and you don't tap into it, and, you know, that's it, right? So you can put it on the refrigerator. It's a bigger device probably than this one. So it's a circular device. You know, you tap it when you go to sleep, and boom, right there. They're focusing on the sleep angle, not the digital addiction, but like more sleep, which, I mean, digital devices do interfere with our sleep, right? So, and it costs, I think, the same, $49.99. They start shipping now in May 2024. So again, another company that is doing something pretty similar. But again, all of these are, for lack of a better term, like they're extremely, like, they're hacks, right? Like, you know, they're ideas. You can throw away this. You can go back to your phone and addiction. You're not really changing your lifestyle. You're just taming your device, which is not a bad thing. But I mean, it just depends on how far you want to put into it, right? So like that's something that you need to realize. So I just wrote a Substack on this topic. Here, view post. So I asked the question: when did you adopt online as your mode of life, as your default mode of life? 7% never have adopted online as their But, a good amount of people between 15 and 30 years old have adopted online as their default mode. About 43 people have voted. But I talk about this. So, I think everybody needs offline. And one of the reasons is biology, right? Sleep has been affected. Our vision has been affected. Our physical activity has been affected. And I go into more detail and research and stuff like that into this chapter. So if you want to go check it out, go check it out. But again, all of these devices are helpful and they probably can help you in your journey, but it just depends on what your lifestyle is actually, helping control and help and, around all of that. Okay. All right. More questions. That's a lot of questions. It's good. It's good. This Q&A is going for long, but that's actually good. Andreas says something like, the main thing that keeps me from going fully dumb, again, is that I install Ring cameras in my new apartment. I'm hoping that the minimal phone has good enough contrast to run that app. Probably it would. It would. I think so. Can you recommend some top tier feature flip phones with the best specs currently on the market, like 4 gigs of RAM and so on? I don't think there's such a thing, Ian. No, I don't think anything has 4 gigs of RAM. I think the closest is the Cat S22 Flip. And I think that has 1, right? Two gigs. Cat S22 Flip. That's the best right now. Let's see the Emporia Touch Smart 2. I don't know how much that has, but it runs Android Go, so not super hopeful. RAM, 1 gig. Yep, 1 gig of RAM. So that's that. Yeah, this probably can run 1 app or 2 max. So it's essentially a Cat S22 for Europe with 1 app. That's it, which probably it is WhatsApp, that app. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there are any flip phones. Let me see. Let me do a cheat sheet right here. See all the flip phones that we have in the Dumbphone Finder. Even the Kyocera DureX V Extreme only has 2 gigs of RAM. Tech Mini had 2. Cat S22 has 2. Yep. Nope. Fig Flip 2. But it cannot install applications. So I don't know how useful that is. But this one has 4 gigs of RAM. Yes, the Fig Flip 2X. But it cannot install applications except the applications that it already has. So if you can live with what it has, then you should be okay. But which is ways, it does have a couple of extra things. But it does have 4 gigs of RAM. It is quite fast. It has 64 gigs of memory. And this is probably the only one that has that. But besides that, no. As far as I remember, I recall, and I don't think anything else has that. Okay. All right, let's continue. What do you think about the new Nokia 235? Good question. Go to the beginning. I'm not trying to. Gabor, thank you for asking a question. But in the beginning, we did an update on that. I did a review on the Nokia 3210. Very similar operating system to the Nokia 235. And I did an update at the beginning of the live stream, so you can find the timestamp. And I talked about that. Essentially, good device, phone calls, text messages. If that's all you need, good to go. Very cheap, affordable, good design. But don't expect it to do more than it, actually has. So if you're looking for something simple and you're looking to kind of like downgrade in that sense, then I truly think that that's a good possibility. Okay. All right. Okay. More questions. Another question. When buying Chinese S-Smart dumb phones, would it be a good idea to flash a different Android version onto it? If it's possible, yeah. Some of them are unlocked. In that sense, you can change the operating system, or Flash GSI, which is like the base operating system for Android. So I think that that's something that could be good. Ali, if possible, could you review the Emporia Touch Smart? I can now. I have a contact in the UK now, Joe from the Dumbphones UK channel. He actually was very kind to send me some of these phones that I have right now, the Nokia devices. So thank you, Joe, for that. And I am thankful. I'm thankful to him for that. So I'll be contacting him and maybe getting a couple of the UK only devices so I can review them. But if you already have the Emporia Touch Smart 1, probably the Emporia Touch Smart 2 is not going to be that big of an upgrade just by knowing the specs. Okay. Are we through with the questions for now? I think so. Yeah. What else do I have? Yes, I do have one more thing. Okay, this is a smartphone, but it's different to a certain degree. So I think it's highlightable. So I'll showcase to you a alternative operating system. So this is a this is the Sailfish OS. So Sailfish, I guess. So Sailfish is a Linux operating system that runs. It's kind of like the successor to MeGo. So let me go look for the website so I can show you what I'm talking about. So if you're looking for maybe an alternative, something that doesn't have all the apps but can run some of the apps, Sailfish OS, the mobile OS with built-in privacy, is a European alternative. It was developed in 2013, so it's been more than 10 years. And they have kind of like some new things happening. So they are developing their own phone now. They released a phone way back in the day, but that one is not supported anymore. But if you're looking for Shopiola, they have a community phone coming up, and they're partnering with a company called Reader. I'm hoping to get this device eventually. But the thing I like about this is that it's kind of like an in-between. It's not too smart. It doesn't have all the apps because it cannot run all the apps, but it does have enough functionality to run apps like Beeper, WhatsApp. It has enough functionality to run maybe a couple of apps here and there. But it's a different operating system. You're not supporting Apple or Google. So if that's something that you're into, it's a little bit of a rabbit hole that you can take, and think about it. I mean, like, sometimes switching an operating system, going to something that is different, that doesn't function like the Android and iOS that you already know, may be something that you can look into, maybe something that you can to kind of like curb or change. Kind of like it works on Sony devices only, and here in the United States it does work, but you need T-Mobile. It's the only carrier that it works. So it was kind of like, hey, if you're interested, it's kind of like adjacent to dumb phones. It's not necessarily a dumb phone, of course, but if you're looking for something in specific, like a dumb phone, but not too much, less functionality, I think it's actually a good option to look into. Okay, are there any more questions? If not, we're going to start dwindling. Couple of maybe updates on my end. Let me see my website. Oh, I'll show you guys maybe on this live stream. So if you want to support, of course, I do have a store. But I also produce different things. I'm producing a newsletter. Physical newsletter. So everything that I write online is available right now, of course, online. But I also am producing a newsletter that kind of like, hey, if you want to look at the thoughts offline, right here. It's like 7 articles. And I talk about, different things and just pretty nice layout kind of stuff. So if you want to grab a copy, they're available on my website, josebriones.org/store. And yeah, I've been kind of like playing around with it, learning new skills, how to lay out a magazine and that kind of stuff. So super excited. Yeah, really happy. And it also includes a specific offline article. This specific offline article is how to vacation more often, that is. So if you want to go on vacation more often, I do have some tips or, kind of like some ideas into that. Okay, what else? I think that's it. That's all I have for today. When it comes to updates, etc., etc. Dumbphone Finder updates, working on some Dumbphone Finder improvements. So if I have always looked into a Dumbphone Finder, there may be other things so you can review and kind of help people go over that. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's all I have for now. That's pretty much it. I will have the Rabbit R1 in my hands today. So I'm going to start probably posting about it and kind of like showcasing like, hey, is this something good for digital minimalism? Offloading some of the tasks, etc., etc. Hopefully I can do at least ride share or music. I'll be testing for that. I know at some point in time in the future, I'm not even wanting to for it to be done right away. But, that's kind of like next on my docket. Once I get a couple of extra kind of like functionality on it, I'll probably post a video on it and I'll kind of go over that. David says, do you use separate SIMs for your light phone and iPhone? Well, I don't use an iPhone for work. I use a Jelly Star. Here, I'll show you. Yay, this very little phone. I love this phone. Super little. And right there. So this little phone is my companion for digital minimalism and for work, because it does have the capability, but it's so small that I'm not really going to do, most things. So yeah, I use this, and then I use the Light Phone 2. That's my setup right now. The Light Phone 2 is for personal matters, and the Jelly Star is my phone for work. So whenever I'm in work hours, like today, until 5, if I get a call, I'm going to answer, and that's it. If I don't get a call, that's fine. So I use the Jelly 2, and then my Light Phone for personal. So whenever I stop working, I only take this one with me. And that's how I do, most of my days. So I do use separate SIMs because I don't want to mix work with personal life. And that's just my personal experience. I use the US mobile plans, which I recommend everyone to use. They have both plans for, maybe I can talk about this. I probably will talk about this. They have plans for very cheap. So I'll showcase a screen capture. So these are their monthly plans. You can go as low as $15. And then you can also do shareable data, or you can use the very cheap plan that I use, which is called the Light Plan. And that one is $6 a month and includes all taxes and fees. So $72 a year, and that's it. Or you can do monthly, $10 a month, which I think it's more than enough, especially for dumb phones. I use these plans on both the Jelly and on the Light Phone. So I only have 1 gig of data, unlimited talk and text. and I download pretty much everything for that. Now I think you had another question in regards to that, David, and you said, is it possible to use one SIM for both a dumb phone and a smartphone? I think you mean one number. And yes, it is possible. It is a little finicky, but T-Mobile digits is probably the solution that you're looking into. You'll still have 2 SIM cards, but you'll have one phone. I recommend that you put the main SIM card on the smart device because it's going to collect most of the information, text messages, calls, and that kind of stuff. And you take the other device as kind of like, hey, it's good enough, or it's like fine enough, but it's not too overwhelming. And I'm just taking it so people can reach, like they call the iPhone, but it automatically redirects to your light phone when you don't have the iPhone on you all the time. So maybe you go on a trip or you go to the park and you don't want to take the phone, you want to take the light phone, or you want to take a flip phone, and you just put that secondary SIM card on the flip phone and it will redirect the calls automatically. This is the best system in the United States. So the digits system is the best system, but it's more costly. I highly recommend you look into US Mobile and you just forward phone calls with star 72. So you do star 72 and then you put, or even you can go into the settings for call forwarding, and then even there's a support article because it'll be cheaper. Digits is like $10 at least. And then a T-Mobile plan is like, what, $50? That's $60. You get 2 SIM cards on US Mobile. You pay $25, even if you get like an unlimited plan for like $25, and then you get a SIM card for the light phone or a flip phone or whatever you want to use for $6. You're paying way less than you will pay with digits. And you just forward, turn on call forwarding, and then when people call you, boom, right there. And then when you come back, you answer their text messages. Like people can wait. So I wrote about this in the newsletter a few months ago. I'm not available. April 29th. So helping others understand your boundaries. So if you want help others understand your boundaries and tell them like, hey, I'm not available 24/7. I'm going to reply on my schedule, not on your schedule. Then you can do this. Like you forward the call, you come back, don't take work home, say no to people and to your bosses. It's okay. It's healthy. It's a good thing. You need to find stuff to do. Okay. Hopefully that helps helps you in the question, right? So if you want to do it and you're okay paying a lot of money, or like $50, $60, then digits is what you need. If you are more like, hey, I want to cheap it, use call forwarding, that kind of stuff, US Mobile is probably going to be your friend with very cheap plans. That's what I would do personally. I would just forward the calls and then take the calls on your other device, and that's it. Personal experience or personal preference, I guess. But it's not possible to have one SIM card for 2 phones. You need to have 2 SIM cards with 1 phone on digits, or 2 different SIM cards with 2 different phones. Yeah. Ali, are you still using the same phones for work in your everyday one? Yep. Jelly Start, light phone. Okay. Jared says Rabbit R1 reviews across YouTube are horrible. Yes, they are. And I think the reason is because they're thinking about it from a smartphone perspective, right? If you have a smartphone, the Rabbit R1 sucks. I mean, your smartphone can do all those things in a better fashion. But if you're a dumb phone user, we don't have the ability to do some of those things. Like when I take my light phone with me, I don't have Uber. Well, you do have Uber if you call the number, but you don't have it on the app, right? So this is helpful. I don't have Spotify for sure on this one. So that, so like, when it comes to the light phone, I don't have Spotify. And if you want Spotify, you need to buy a dedicated device. So I feel like the Rabbit R1 has all of those things in one, or at least promises to do it, right? So if it does promise to do it, and it will do it, I think it's going to be a very welcome thing, in my opinion. So like, I'm going to test it and put it through the test and put like, kind of like similar environment to what the best the best usage has been, and then I'll report to you guys. As always, I like to report on the value that it brings. $200 with no subscriptions, I think it's a good thing. Okay, I'll touch on one more topic, and then we'll be closing the live stream. So if you have any questions, put them right now, because we will go over it. So I want to talk about money, right? So I've been thinking about this from a interesting perspective. So I believe I do have some resources on my website. I do need to update this because I don't. So tips. So on my tips section, I have tips for life, mental wellness, digital minimalism, random, finances. These are some podcasts I listen to. But in the topic of money, I think a lot of us don't really realize how much consumerism has done a number into our lives. And, I'm a pretty avid listener of financial podcasts. I need to put Ramit Sethi in here. He is great. These two websites are very good, and they talk about money in like different ways. But something that I really think that we haven't really like gone over, or we really haven't touched on, is like the cost of smartphones over time. The cost of smartphones over time. And like, I just want to do like a spreadsheet comparison. I love spreadsheets, but like smartphone versus dumb phone. But like, let's just look at it from this perspective. And I'm going to give 3 examples. But I think that a lot of people don't. If you don't have a budget, or you haven't learned how to do a budget, I highly recommend that you take a class into how to do a budget. Choosify has a class called where is it? Educational resources. There it is. Financial Independence 101. That's what it's called. And it's a free class, I believe. So it kind of tells you about money issues and how to change your mindset and that kind of stuff. And you don't have to believe in everything that they do, of course, but I've been thinking about this from the perspective of a smartphone user over time. So I guess we're going to do column A will be Dumbphone user, smartphone user, and then smartphone 2 user, which will be essentially somebody that upgrades year 1, year 2, year 3, let's do year 10, and year 20. So I've been thinking about this because, let's go with an example that is costly. Am I even showing you the spreadsheet? I am showing you the spreadsheet. So let's go middle ground, right? Like a good smartphone versus a good dumb phone. So I've had the light phone for 5 years. Had I bought a Pixel 5A, release date August 26th of what? 2021. No. So 4A then. Perfect. I bought the light phone in 2020, and the Pixel 4A was the device that worked back in the day. So the Pixel 4A Three years. So the Pixel 4a is not being updated anymore. Perfect. 3 years of OS and security updates. The Pixel 4a no longer receives OS updates versus the light phone does. And I'm just going to compare it to the light phone just for, so $300 for the light phone. And my plan now is $72. We're going to do equals multiply C7 times 12. No, times, that's the cost of yearly, Oh, okay, so I don't even have to multiply that. Okay, let's do C. Let's do Mint Mobile as an example. So C8 times 12 will be $15. So I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt. 15. What? No, $15. I need dollars. There it is. 180. 180 multiply D7 times 10. And then we're going to, perfect. Okay. So 300 plus, so it's 372. Our first number is going to be 372. That's my cost to own the light phone for the first year. But let's add other devices. Let's say that I bought a music player and then I bought a GPS unit, right? So we're going to say the music player was $100 and the GPS unit was another, so that's $200, right? So now we go over the cost of year one is 572. Now, if I do multiply, we're going into a spreadsheet rabbit hole here, but let's do year one, which is B2, and then year two, year two will only be the cost of the $72, right? So year three, another $72. So let's put year 5 here because this is how much, and then year 10 and year 20. So let's now do sum of B B2, B3, no, C2, C, D2, and C7, which is like one more cost, times 2. 788 at the beginning of year 5, but I'm going to add another $72. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to showcase like with some data, right? So like D what? D10. Okay. So by year 5, I would have spent $860 on the Light Phone 2, right? So 572 with a $6 plan, and every year I'm spending $72. So 860 times 2 will be year 10, and year 10 will be, you know, kind of like whatever it is, right? Let's just say that I had to replace my light phone, you know, or I'm going to buy another light phone, so it's going to cost me again another $300. Now the same example goes for the Google Pixel, which was $349, right? So it was $50 more at the time, but I probably would have put a smart plan on it. I would have not put a 1 gig plan. I would have put a 5 gig or 3 gig in order to deal with like some of the apps and that kind of stuff, right? But this is just an example of somebody that upgrades once. So 349, so times, let's see, equals sum A7 and D7. 529, then 180, 180, another 180 to kind of start that, and then equals sum. Let's see, B2, no, B3, C3, D3, D7, and F7. Okay, so cost over 5 years, if I had just used a Google Pixel 4a at the time, it would have been $1,249. But this is where I think a lot of people don't realize what they're doing. And this is like, let's say that they buy the latest Google Pixel every other year, right? Like, I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt. Now, I will be very transparent with you guys right now. I used to change the smartphone every 6 months. Like that was my cycle for myself, right? Like, you know, I used to buy a mid-range to high-end smartphone. I used to trade in and like kind of get back every 6 months. And this is a very big strain on the smartphone user too, because let's say that the Google Pixel is $349. let's say that they went with the Pixel 6a, so they didn't get into the 5a, but they get into the 6a, and that was worth $449, and it was released in 2022. So every 2 years they're going to be doing this change, right? So let's go over that. It's $449. So that's the cost. So year 1 is going to be the same for smartphone user 2. What is going on here? Oh, I see. No. Okay, so yeah, same. And then year 2 will be the same, but year 3 they upgrade, right? So now we have the cost of a plan, of cheap plan, still $15 a month, but now we have the cost of a different cost, right? So now we have equals some A8 and D7. Now we have $629, and then year 5 they will upgrade again. Let's say now it's 2024, and now the Pixel 8a, I'm just using the Pixel 8 as a mid-range comparison, and inflation, yada, yada, yada. It has been released, and let's see, price. There it is, $499, perfect, $499, and maybe this one has more updates, and you sold the other one. So instead of $499, you pay another $300. Let's just put it like that. Let's say you sold the Pixel 4a for half the price. So I'm going to go down here to, you paid $349 again. And this one you paid $300 because the 6a is better. Or actually, let's just keep it $349. So that it kind of like stays with it. So again, is another year 5 is another $529. Right? Because you're paying for the plan and you're paying for that cost, but now when you add it up, if you change every other year, right? Like, then we have, actually here, we're going to, here. So B2, C, B4, C4, D4, and F2, no, F7. And then another $529. So I need to put that $529 somewhere. I'll put it at F9. Where's the apostrophe? I don't know. There's a mistake. Let's see. 529. Right. Oh, there's nothing here. That's why. So, boom. Total cost of ownership for a person that changes their smartphone, and we're talking about a mid-range device over time, is $1,947. Whereas, and with a plan that is $15 a month, right? Now, a person that keeps their smartphone for 5 years, which it's a good term, and now companies are starting to update for that long, $1,249. A person that doesn't need a big plan, you just need 1 gig, maybe for like the little things here and there, and you have a light phone, and I put up an expensive phone in here, which is the light phone, plus a GPS, plus whatever, $860, right? Now, over 2 years, let's just assume, over 10 years, let's just assume that same amount. And now we have a larger amount. So now we have multiply, which is E2 times 2, 1,720. Magic formula. Same thing here. I think I can just do this. Right. Yep. So in 20 years, right, you spend $7,788 roughly on, if we just take the same amounts spread out over this amount, the spirit amount, which is double, right, of what you spent on as a Dumbphone user if you take account for all of the same variables. The smartphone user that is more responsible and keeps their phone for 5 years, which is a very long term to keep a device, they usually fail at the 2-3 year mark. Then you're spending a little bit more, but not too much, which I think is the best case scenario. But again, like in that period, right? Like, it's just something that you kind of have to take into account, right? Like, are you using, did I calculate this right? Yes, I did. 15 times 12. Yeah. Is your money being used in the best possible manner? Because if I just take this, right, like let's say, let's just do an example, right? Year 5. So let's just do year 5. 1,947. What is it? Minus E4 and E2. You would have an extra $1,905, right? Let's divide those $109,005 in monthly. So divide I2 by 60 months. You would have an extra $31.75. That doesn't sound like a lot. Now let's put this to the test. Let's say you bought the S&P 500, which is probably some of you are like, what is this? How did we turn into an investment channel? We are not an investment channel, but I'm just kind of showcasing. So let's put it on a savings account, right? So $31 every month of savings. I'm just giving you a clear, very basic example. So let's talk about I3, and then let's multiply it times 12. Oh, doesn't have a direction. Multiply. $381 per year. Let's say that this, you put it on a savings account, which right now savings accounts are savings account. Like, I'm not even going into the investment route, right? Like I'm just like, hey, a savings account, right? My initial deposit is where are you at? $381 or $31 and how much? 75 cents. And I contribute $31.75, just $31. Okay. $31. Let's call it 32. And then I do a monthly contribution of $32. In the first year, right, I would have $9.50 if I had just put it at this 4%, right? But if I go 10 years, right, I have an extra $1,000 on top of the money that I saved. So if I continue contributing those $31, right, now the difference is not only $1,905 that I saved on this 5-year period, right, or this 10-year period. The 10-year period will be minus F4 and F2. $2,174 is not just those $2,174. If I just put that on a savings account, I would have gotten an extra $1,018. And now when you put that into perspective, like, I mean, it's H8, H9, no, H8 and I8. Your total amount is $3,192 of savings plus the difference that you could have done with that have you saved it, just savings accounts, right? Now, if we go to an investment calculator and you put those $30 every month, and I mean, this is just like a very basic, right? Like, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to convince you to do any investments. It's not investment advice, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Those are the good things, but it's just like, okay, something's going on. Okay, there it is. Let's say our $31, we're investing $32 a month, just $32 a month, right? That we're saving by not having a smartphone or a super big plan. Like, I'm not even talking about the smartphone. I'm just talking about the plan to a certain degree. And then I do monthly contributions of $32 and I grow it for 10 years. And my expected return is 7%, right? And my compound is annual, just for risk factors and that kind of stuff. That's an extra $5,536, right? And I just invested $32. I just invested the difference, just what I saved, right? Like I was just saving $32 by not purchasing this, right? And I purchased the light phone too, right? Now, if you put this into perspective and we put a $100 flip phone, right? Now our equation goes down to, this will be $372, right? Now it's even bigger savings at 300, just a little bit more, right? So like, again, the cost of smartphones and their services may be costing you more than you think when it comes to your finances. As much as in this little example that we made right now, $5,536. And like, I'm putting a 7% expected return because that's usually what the S&P 500 historical return minus inflation. Historical return of the S&P 500, 9%. Take some inflation out. Good years, better years, yada, yada, yada. I average at 7%. I think that's fair. But even like, let's put it at 6% to be even more conservative. That's still $5,256. I mean, like that is a big amount of money because it compounds over time. So I think that, maybe what I'm trying to say is that I'm just putting a mid-range smartphone from Google, something that's good, et cetera, et cetera. And then like you take into account all of these other things, which is a lot of money. And it's a lot of life that you have to live under the things that you actually want to do. So when it comes to cost effectiveness and when it comes to the ideas that you want to put out there, I really want to encourage you to look into your finances and to see how a low-tech life can help you reduce your consumerism. So choose a 5 or I Will Teach You to Be Rich. 2 great systems that kind of inform you on the journey for finances, and that help you and that have helped me and maybe will also be able to help you. Yeah. And again, like I was taking like very bare bones, Mint Mobile, kind of stuff. If we go to Verizon, oh my gosh, I don't even want to know this. Let's go to a personal plan, mobile. New customer. 1 line. Sure. Let's just say 1 line. Great, $100. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But of course, and look at this. Like this just gets me so much. So I used to be prey of this. I am not going to try to say that they don't make it easy and amazing for all the people, but it's just like, hey, get our plan. And now you can get Apple One included or Disney bundle plus Netflix and Max or Walmart Plus, right? Like this is such a good deal. Like, I mean, you're getting so much value. That's how they get you into this, right? But like, look at this. This is $100 for a plan that you can get on US Mobile and then just pay for the other things yourself. Like, let's just put like the Disney bundle, right? How much is the Disney bundle? It's $15. Okay, yes. Block. Get all 3. I want to get all 3. How much is it? Okay. Disney bundle price. $20. Fair enough. It's $20. US Mobile with Verizon plans, because they do have the Verizon plans as well. They have 2 networks, T-Mobile and Verizon. Let's go for the most expensive one, right? Unlimited premium, unlimited text and data, 100 gigs of premium data, 50 hotspot, yada, yada, yada. $37 a month, monthly, $50 a month. Let's say it's $50 a month. And then you get the Disney bundle price. That's $20 a month. You go to Verizon and you're paying them $100 for the same deal. So even in this scenario, you're saving $30 by going with a company that gives you the same service, just it's prepaid. So again, like I think consumerism is so crazy that it just tells you like, hey, you can do this and you can do it in a way that benefits you. But like if you just dig a little bit deeper, you can find the same deal, just do it by yourself and then it's this like similar price or even less, which I think it's crazy because these $100, let me tell you, are not taxes included, right? With US Mobile, the taxes are included. So you're going to be paying maybe like 120, in here. So it's even a bigger difference. All that to say, smartphones versus dumb phones, cost over time. It's quite important that you look into that. And even if you're going to keep a smartphone, but you do it like you dumb it down, you reduce your usage, etc., then that may even help you to like reduce your expenses as well, because you can say like, okay, now that I have a dumbed down smartphone, I'm not using as much data, then I can reduce my data intake and save some money in there. And there's other cost-effective measures that you can use, in my personal opinion, but I highly recommend that you look into professionals or people that have been doing it for a long time and have a, track record of like guiding people into this. Financial conversation started, I think, at 150. So let me just put that in the, we did a lot of questions today, which is a good thing. I love when we do a lot of questions. 145. Financial comparison. Okay, perfect. Okay. I think there was one more question. What are your thoughts on the Wise Phone 2 released this summer? Good question. Techless. Yeah, so they're releasing their techless device. They're a little bit delayed, I believe. I thought that they were going to do it this past winter, but they couldn't. I think it's going to be a good phone. I don't like their plans. They have a minimal plan, which is like the essentials, and allows you to use the tools, but then you don't get any extra tools. So $25 a month plus the device being $400. You can see how this is a problem for my personal opinion, right? Which is like, hey, I'm paying you $24 for the plan, where I could be paying $72 for the year. Is that worth it? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Doesn't even have a hotspot until you pay them $70 a month. Wow, that's a lot, right? So again, I like the phone and functionality, and I think it's going to be good, very customized with music notes, that kind of stuff. But being tied to a subscription, it's where I'm like, this sucks, right? Like it's not my preferred system, and that kind of stuff. Good. Okay. So I think it's going to be a good phone. And if you're willing to pay the price of the subscription plus plan that they include, go for it. But if it's not going to add that much value because you can replicate this phone on your own or with other tools, then just do that and save some money in the other areas. Okay. Random question. Do you deal with crypto? I don't anymore. I did. I tried it. I did not think, let me put it this way. I think crypto is definitely an underexplored area, and it has a lot of variables and things that people need to understand, very nuances, and people need to understand it very, very well before getting into it. But I think that you need to be cautious about it. And also, like another thing is like invest in what you know and what you're comfortable with. And when it comes to crypto, like I just don't know enough and I'm not comfortable with it. So I stopped investing in it, and I invested into things that I understood and that were simple to understand and that were automatic for me. So my personal strategy is just keep it simple. Just invest in the things that I know and go for things that have a long track record, right? I think as crypto evolves and all of these things will happen, it probably will also become a better track record than it is right now. And whenever that happens, I will get into the documentation. I'll get into understanding how it works. I will listen to professionals that know how it works. And once it's easy, simple, and I don't have to like, oh my gosh, did crypto go down 3,000 today, 4,000? That volatility, I'm like, I'm good. I just need something that's simple, steady, and that is going to return kind of like patterns, right? Like, I know that on average, the S&P 500 will return 9%. I know on patterns, some of these companies will return a certain percentage, right? Like there is no this high fluctuation. I prefer that. It doesn't take my sleep away. It's something that I can understand. And maybe one day crypto will be simpler and I'll be able to understand it even better and the volatility will be lower so that it gives me the confidence to kind of like, go over that. Okay. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate it. I will check one more time on my Rabbit R1 update. And nope, still out for delivery. So it has not been delivered. Maybe by the next live stream on June, I do one of these once a month. I will be talking about it. Of course, by then I'll have a review. So I'll just kind of like do updates on this matter a little bit here and there. Anyways, thank you for watching. Really appreciate your, subscriptions and support and just watching this video. Really, really appreciate what you guys do for the channel and for all the tools and all the things that I do. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care.